Hello, welcome to Healing with podcast. I am Marissa McDevitt, your host, mindset coach, mentor, and founder of Healing Center. Tired of all the BS? So was I. This podcast is my raw, unfiltered take on life, sharing my personal experiences, lessons, and healing practices that helped me break free from the cycles that no longer serve me. I'm just an average woman who decided to stop settling and start speaking up. Here we dive deep into the messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful realities of life, business, and relationships. No fluff, no judgment, just real talk, real growth, and real transformation. This is a safe space for anyone, women, men, and all the beauties in between. So who's ready to raise their standards, heal, and step into their power? Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Now tune in and let's talk about it. Oh my goodness. I know, it's been over a month since I recorded my last episode, but let's be honest, I needed a reset. So this episode is about being present through fear, burnout, and rebuilding your life from where you're at. So where have I been? At home. Y'all, I've been at home. I've needed time away from everything. So as the phoenix that I am, my fire has been burning and burning, which means like I have so many projects going on at once, and I do this to myself all the time. And this time it just got so overwhelming that I decided to just stop, drop, and roll. Roll away from everything. Yeah. Honestly, you know, I was creating a lot of content. I'm writing my book. I'm doing photo shoots. I'm trying to post 3 times a day. It's just a lot. And for those who know me and who've been following me for a long time, I'm not the biggest fan of social media in the first place. I already have a hard enough time posting like regularly with my photos just because I don't really care to. Like, it's just not my thing. I love taking the photos. I love creating content. I love making videos. I love all the things. And to a sense, like, I even love editing if I had quality time for it. But the whole, like, posting and checking the DMs and responding, and I have, you have to post it on the TikTok and the Instagram and the Facebook and, I mean, that's how they do it. And I mad respect to everybody who does it on their own and wears all the hats, because, I mean, I did it for like a month and I just got so overwhelmed where I was really trying to post content once a day or 3 times a day, etc. And that's okay. It's not made for everyone. And right now it's not made for me. And that's okay. So I kind of just got wrapped up into it. And it's like not only a lot of your time and effort to create the content, edit everything, and then post it 3 times a day. It's just you get stuck scrolling, whether you want to admit it or not. And that was my problem. Yeah, I got stuck scrolling, and then my algorithm on my Instagram got all messed up to where it was like very fear-based, like very newsy almost. And I'm not sure how that happened because I try not to click on fear-based stuff. But my algorithm was all messed up. So I was constantly like, it almost felt like I was watching, like Fox News or CNN News, like constant news updates. And I do believe that because so many people are like stopped watching the news, they're really flooding social media with it. And it just, it got very depressing. Not only that, like consume, like everything you look at is ads. Buy this, buy that. On the Mel Robbins podcast, one of her guests explained that they had, I think we see like 30,000 ads a day. It was just a lot to take into perspective. And as you guys know, like, television equals tells lies to your vision. Like, I already don't watch television. I very rarely watch movies, except for lately. I've been having movie nights with me and my dog, and it's been great. But I'm very intentional with what movies I watch. Like, I don't watch any scary movies. I don't watch fear-based movies. I like action movies, but I can't watch too many action movies because then I'm a lucid dreamer. So then I don't sleep because in my dreams I'm, you know, just doing all the things. Honestly, like, I felt like depressed. I've never been diagnosed with depression, or I don't really understand what depression is, except for how I felt was lost, overwhelmed, emotionally exhausted, mentally exhausted, just uncertain with everything, and very like lonely. It's a very interesting feeling. I'm not really lonely. But that's how I was feeling. And I didn't understand how to wrap my head around it. I was not hungry. I fasted a couple days because I thought like maybe I needed a reset. I I couldn't even go to the gym. I had no energy for anything. And that's when I decided, like, okay, I have to stop giving all my energy to these platforms and what I'm doing, because it got to a point where I was getting more stressed out, setting up all my cameras, getting everything ready, filming, and then trying to channel my book. And then after, I had to make posts or before, and it was just kind of ruining the whole experience of being present in the moment. And that just comes with, right, wearing all the hats. Like, I don't have a personal videographer. I mean, I do. I just can't afford to pay him right now. So at this time of my life, and 99% of us, when we start a documentary or we start a project or a business, right, we are wearing all the hats. We are doing every single thing. We are literally figuring every single thing out ourselves, where we're learning on YouTube. Thank God for ChatGPT and Gemini helping us through things. But we have to learn and figure it out on ourselves, where if you have the money, you hire people to do it for you, and then you can just rely on creating content. However, that takes time. So unless you have 20 grand ready to go, for the first couple months of your business, you're most likely going to be doing everything yourself. So with that being said, yeah, I just was exhausted, and I decided to get off all social media platforms. I erased my whole entire whiteboard with all my projects on it for the first time in a year. I just erased the whole thing. I mean, it was full to the brim, and I said, I'm just restarting. I'm going back to the basics. I'm exhausted. I am, like I said, all the things. So I decided, for my mental health and my energy, I had to reset. And that's what I did. So I always want this podcast to be authentic. I don't want to only show the highlights reels of building a life. I want to show the moments where we question everything, because those moments are a part of the journey too. And that's really what I have been understanding, is that the journey to the destination is the outcome. And I hope some people can understand what that means. Like, every step of the way, me becoming the person that I see in the future of the destination, me becoming that is the destination. And that took me, it just clicked a few days ago. Like, oh, that's why it's so important. And that's why they say every day, be in the present moment. Because there isn't a there, then, there wasn't a was. It's like, it's just now. Having that simple task of just being in the now and waking up every single day, one day at a time, has helped me come out of what I believe I was in, like a little depression state. And I'm finally climbing out enough to record a podcast episode, right? And it's been over a month. For the first time since I started my podcast, I'm not recording a video. I'm just sitting in my sacred space. I lit my candle. The sun is setting in Arizona. It's absolutely gorgeous out. It is 100 degrees outside, but to me, that's beautiful because I'm a desert lizard. I love to bake in the sun. But when it sets, it cools down. It gets quiet. Sometimes there's a breeze. And I'm looking out the beautiful window. I have the hummingbirds coming up. I saw the baby quails today. Just a beautiful day. I cleaned my house. I organized my closet. It's just been a great day. And I was going to go lay down early because I'm going to get up early and go to the gym, which I've been finally getting back into the gym the last couple weeks. And I heard, record your podcast episode. And I said, right now? And they said, before bed. So here I am. And I love it. I feel grounded. I feel at peace. And I'm happy to be back, right? So the reality of building something, it takes time. I mean, let's talk about it. So like January 2025, I started Healing Center. That's my healing center. I do Reiki healing, sound healing, workshops, all the things, right? Then March 29th, 2025, I started Healing with podcast. All right, so January I started my healing center. 3 months later, I started Healing with podcast. 5 months later, I posted my first YouTube live video where like me and my coach at the time did a podcast episode. And what I'm saying is like it takes time to build things. So there are seasons to building things. So what happens is we see the final result of someone's success, but we rarely see the years of uncertainty, rejection, learning, and rebuilding. And this is so true. Like all of these giant podcasts with like millions of viewers, they will tell you they have been doing podcast episodes for 10, 15 years. Now you do have your lucky lottery ticket winners where they blast off, very soon or in a couple years or whatever, and that's awesome. But the reality is it takes time. But the beautiful thing is you're becoming that successful person that you see yourself in the future. You have to take all the steps to get there and grow your capacity to be able to hold that kind of frequency when you get there. So let's talk about the expectation versus the reality. So I thought, I started my business, I'm doing the healing work, I'm showing up, I'm taking all the action. So why haven't I exploded yet? And then the reality hit that growth has seasons and foundations take time, and the universe and life has its own divine timing. And that sometimes the delay is actually preparation. And I do believe that, especially with what I just went through the last couple months, especially me just taking like a month off and decompressing from everything. It's really made me go inside myself and reground inside without having expectations of the outcomes of things because I was filming so much. And another thing too, y'all, is like, listen, like when we plant seeds, if you have an apple seed, you plant the seed, it takes a long time to grow. It takes weeks of watering to sprout. Then it has to grow into a tree. You don't get an apple right away. You have to get a sprout and then a tree. And then there's seasons for the apples. But then once the fruit happens, you get hundreds of fruits of apples a year. Things take time. So consistency is your best option. You have to water that apple tree every single day for it to grow. So water whatever project, business, idea, water it. It's going to take some time. But if you stay consistent, you will get so much fruit. You will have an abundance of fruit. So let's talk about the season of shedding. Oh my Lord. You have to make space. You have to make space for new things to come. And last summer, around this time, I released a lot of friendships. And I'm not talking about my friend I've only known for a little bit. Like, these are long time friendships, 17-year friendships, 10-year friendships, 8-year friendships. And I realize not every relationship grows with you. And that sucks. It's not easy to watch your friends decide to take the wrong path. And then you have to think about it. Well, really, is there ever a wrong path? Because when I look up at it on my side and I see all the wrong paths I've ever taken, I don't regret it. Why? Why don't you regret it? Because I needed to learn those lessons at that time in my life. My energy was so low that I had to learn the lesson in order to grow. Now, here's the difference. Is that, okay, people make mistakes and they take the wrong turn. Okay, understood. You understand the assignment, you took the wrong turn, you take accountability for it, and then you don't do it again. What happened with a lot of my friends is they took the wrong turn, they made the wrong choice, they knew what they did, they continued to make the same mistake. And that's where I had to learn my boundaries even more and say, listen, I love you guys. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I still do. But there is no way that my energy and my frequency can hang around people who are in the same toxic cycle. And I had to pull back. And I pulled back and I shut the door to 17-year friendships, 10-year friendships, 8-year friendships. People very, very close to me. And it's not easy. It hasn't been easy. And I do believe like that's where a part of like this loneliness almost came from, because I'm a lover and I held those friendships very dear to my heart. And being someone who has done the inner work, has done the healing work, who's taken the wrong turns but took accountability and learned from her lessons, who have done all the healing with love and light and just unbelievably put all my effort into not choosing the path that I was predicted to go down based off how I grew up. I couldn't be around people like that. And I always say, you are who you surround yourself with. If you want to be an entrepreneur and a business owner and a successful person, why are you hanging out with crackheads? Why are you hanging out with drug addicts? Why are you hanging out with insecure people where your friends are fighting with each other so much because they can't even look at another person on the street without being insecure and starting a fight with each other? Sometimes the hardest part of growth is grieving people who are still alive. Compassion without carrying someone else's life. So this is a huge lesson. So you can love someone, pray for someone, want them to succeed, but you cannot force someone to be healed, want change more than they do, and sacrifice yourself trying to save someone. And that was a big lesson I learned last year and into this year. You can show someone the door, but you cannot make them walk through it. So the burnout I didn't see coming. I meditated, y'all. I do Reiki. I use my PEMF mat, okay? I know wellness. I know self-care. Y'all, I was literally meditating an hour a day. I was doing Reiki on clients. I was getting outside in the sun and sun gazing. Like, I was doing everything. But what the heck? The burnout still happened to me. But even though I felt like I was failing during this burnout doesn't mean you failed. Sometimes burnout means you've been carrying too much and your body is asking for attention, and your priorities just need adjusting. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was carrying too much. I had 6 projects going on, and these were massive projects. I was stressed out. I have my book I'm writing and I was putting timelines on it, which is great, but it was putting a lot of pressure on me because I had 2 big contracts I was building on top of the 60 other little projects I had going on with posting every day and all the things, and I just got overwhelmed. So erasing my whiteboard, I did it. I erased everything. And not because I gave up, but because I recalibrated. So my old schedule was daily content, editing constantly, my book, my business, my job, 100 projects, showing up for my fiance, I got my dog, like everything. And the result was nothing was getting completed. I had no energy and I felt more disconnected than ever, even though I was super connected in the social world with everybody messaging and likes and the things. So here's an activity that I did and I suggest you do if you're feeling burnt out or overwhelmed. So 2 columns. What lights me up versus what drains me. And here's how I did it. I actually would have a little paper next to me, and the things I was doing, I would write, do I feel lighter? Like, am I excited about it? Or do I feel exhausted and drained after it? So here's some things that drained me. The scrolling. Oh my gosh. And you guys, I wasn't even going on social media purposely to scroll. I would make a post, or I would go to make a post or schedule a post, and I would scroll before or after. And it was like an addiction almost. And I've talked about this many times on my podcast, and I have episodes on it, which is why I frequently do detoxes, and it's the best thing ever. So what drains me? Comparison, fear-based content, trying to please everyone, and then overcommitting. But what lit me up and what gave me life was movement, walking outside with my dog in the sun, meditation, my dog, nature, going outside and just sitting by my plants or hanging out in my garden. Creativity, but not creativity in different ways, not how I was doing it with the content, the constant content, but more of creativity of reorganizing things and I was being more creative on what I was learning and stuff like that. Meaningful work, intentional work, showing up every day and having my action steps and taking action on meaningful work. And then what lights me up is my relationships with my dad, my mom, my fiance. So what can I remove, delegate, or pause? And that's what I did. That's why I erased everything. So being present with fear. What does that mean? That means I had so much fear. And I don't know, I believe it was coming from the social media. So much fear, and then so much fear of am I going to get rejected with this contract? Am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? Oh my gosh, I went down a spiral. And then I learned that all of this was happening in my head. All these things. Oh my God, what if, but, oh my gosh, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. Constantly, nothing was in the present. And I was like that for a couple weeks. The more I would stack on myself, the project and the deadlines, the more I was getting more in my head and more down on myself. And then I found this healing exercise. So we're going to do it together. And if you're ever feeling fearful, like I just said, where you're overwhelmed and you're exhausted and you're having these thoughts of I'm not good enough. What if this happens? I don't have this. I don't have rent. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't that. I want you to take 3 deep breaths. So let's do this together. Take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. 2 more. In through your nose. And 1 more. Now I want you to say, I am 3 times. The affirmation of I am. I am. I am. I am. Now take another deep breath in. And out. Oh, bring your awareness to your heart space. Now I want you to say, I am 3 times in your heart space. I am. I am. I am. And ask yourself, how do you feel when you're in your heart space? How do you feel now? Fear lives in the future, but presence brings you back to now. Now, usually when you're in a fear state, or you're so worked up in your mind, and you finally calm the mind and you go into the heart, normally what happens is you start to cry. And you feel this sadness. And that's good, because you're breaking open your feelings. You're tapping into your inner self instead of your outer self with your mind. So if you do feel tears come up, let them out. And do this every single time. And if you cry every single time, amazing. And I want you to know that it is okay to cry. And I also want you to know you're not going to cry forever. Darling, you are not going to cry forever. But sometimes things need to release. For me, I cried for about 2.5 weeks. I would just walk outside and start crying. And that's okay. My favorite words, right? Well, what we're scared of is rejection. But my favorite word is redirection. So when you're feeling rejected, it is always God working for you in a redirection. The divine is redirecting you onto the path you're supposed to be on. So for example, when I was emailing my businesses and making these contracts and posting more and going live and handing out my cards, and I was getting rejected or no one was showing up, or they said they love me but they don't like my offer and all these things, right? At first, I was in my head and I was like, oh man, I got down on myself. But then when I came to my heart center, I remembered, oh yes, this is just a redirection. This is practice. I am learning how to be redirected. Because in life, you will have many rejections, whether you like it or not. And it's up to you on how you perceive it. So fear does not disappear before action. And confidence comes after action. So true. I had so many what ifs, but this, what should I, oh my God, I'm so scared to send it. Should I send it? What happens if I send it? Oh my gosh, what happens if I post this? Nobody's going to show up or whatever. But then after I take the action, I have this confidence like, holy crap, I did it. I sent it. I sent the email. I gave my business card to that billionaire. I did all, and then your confidence grows. And that's the part of the journey is the destination. You becoming is the destination. Who you become. And you learn throughout it. So 5 things to do when you feel lost, depressed, or overwhelmed. Number 1, practice gratitude. I have this in all my courses. Not toxic positivity, but real gratitude. So what does that mean, Marissa? Ask, what is still working? For example, my breath. I am still breathing. My body, I have my hands, my feet, my limbs, my eyes. Name one person who loves you, whether that can even be your dog or the bird. I have a safe place. One small win. My small win today was, well, I have a few of them because I actually reorganized my closet and I recorded this podcast episode. But the point is, gratitude changes your focus. And what's really interesting, and I want to share this because when I was going through my emotional purge, I'm going to call it, because I was just crying every day, I would go outside and I would just cry because I was so thankful. And I'm so thankful to just be alive. And I was so thankful for the trees. And I was so thankful for my house. And I was so thankful for my fiance. And I was so thankful I have everything I need. I've already won. So why am I feeling so disappointed in life? And then I would go down harder on myself. Now I'm a piece of shit because I'm a big crybaby and I'm so depressed when I have everything. You might feel that way. And that's okay. And for me, it was a giant shift for me to realize that what I was upset about was all in my head, right? Meaning like the things I was upset about was real, not like I made them up, but the energy was all in my head of the future and it was nothing in the present. And when I started doing gratitude and I would just sit and say, I've already won. Look at what I have. I have everything I've already manifested. And then a little part of you says, but we want more, but we want more. And my other side said, in time, in time. Gratitude and patience. Number 2, regulate your body before solving your life. So when you're overwhelmed, start with the body. And that's what I did. I had all my projects. I felt extremely overwhelmed. And I said, all right, no more social media, no more everything. I'm taking as much time off of it as I need, and I'm going back to the basics. Breath work, walking, stretching. I went back in the gym. I was shuffling at my house. I'm meditating, and I'm just going outside and drinking my tea. Your body needs safety before your brain can problem solve. 3, return to your non-negotiables. Pick your anchors. For example, sleep. I've been sleeping so much. And also, I think probably because I was depressed or whatever. So you sleep more. Movement, nourishing food, sunlight, prayer, meditation, and connection. Small routines rebuild trust with yourself. There was like 2.5 weeks where I just slept and slept and slept. And then finally, after being off social media and just detoxing, I finally, like a week later, I was like, okay, it's time for the gym. And I started going back to the gym and I started rollerblading again. And just small things are coming back because I picked my non-negotiables. Number 4, trust and take aligned action. You don't need the entire path written out for you. What you need to do is ask your guides, ask God, ask the divine. God, divine universe, please show me the next action step I am supposed to take to get to this point. God, divine, show me what I am supposed to do. Not how do I solve my entire future. Because that's exactly what I was doing. Number 5, find support in community. Humans are not meant to do everything alone. Find yourself a mentor, coaches, therapy, support groups, positive communities, books and podcasts. Growth happens faster when you are surrounded by people who remind you what is possible. And I'm so grateful for the book program I'm in. My mentors, my entrepreneur mentorships are phenomenal. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. And it's so funny because like I signed up for another 12 weeks And that's when I like went on this healing journey, I'm going to call it. I haven't posted one time in the community because I've just been overwhelmed, but I've been showing up to every coaching call, and I've been showing up in my book, and I've been writing. And that's because of the support and community and mentorships I have. And another thing too is like when you're having a mentor, if you want to build a business, have a business mentor, have someone who has done the things you want to do. My mentor is like a multi-million-dollar woman who is a single mom of 5 kids and who has built her own TV show, built her own talk show, have traveled all over the world. Like, this woman is the most divine, empowering woman I've ever met in my life. And she's my mentor right now. And it is the most energetically like aligned and uplifting frequency I have been in. And I want to be getting through the things I have been getting through if it wasn't for her and the program. So really find yourself a community. And if you don't have money, then go on YouTube and look up mentors. I used to, every day, like going to work, if I was really down on myself or I didn't feel like going, I would literally put into YouTube successful mentor speeches. And I would listen to a positive speech on my way to work just to get in a higher frequency and understand like, oh yes, okay, I can do this day. Being present, this is going to pay my bills. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm blessed. And just no understanding like my reset and my new focus, my priorities have changed. So number 1 is my book. I am really focusing on my book. Number 2 is my podcast. I'm focusing back on my podcast. Number 3, my health, self-care, my fiance, my dog. And number 4, everything else that goes with it, right? So rebranding, all the fun things, my website, my program. But everything else can wait. My top 3 priorities are my book, my podcast, and my health. And everything else can wait. So everything I want will still be there when I become the person who can hold it. It's so powerful. And I want to end with this. Your life does not have to be perfect today. You just have to show up for today. That's a good one. I needed that. Your life does not have to be perfect today. You just have to show up for today. And the affirmation I want to end on is I trust the timing of my life. I release the pressure to have everything figured out. And I allow myself to grow, heal, and rebuild one day at a time. And if this episode resonated with you, please send this podcast episode to someone who may need to hear it. And drop a comment. What resonated with you in this episode? Are you feeling this way? Have you been here before? Let me know in the comments. And with much love, have a beautiful day.